Hi, Tony. Brian, otherwise known as Stronzo5785, coming to you from my beloved nondescript city in the southwestern part of the United States. You only mentioned the first two questions. You only mentioned the questions about embryology and mountains being as tent pegs. You don't source any geologists. You don't source any specific embryologists. I have a feeling you will be sourcing Professor Moore again. Unfortunately, Professor Moore has two versions of his embryology text. One that's used in the Islamic world and another one that's used in the Western world. They're very different works, and they're designed, targeted for an audience. My kid sis, who I have stated is an OBGYN, she used the Western version of Professor Moore's texts in her undergrad studies, and then they had a different, more current text that they used to study in her graduate school days. So, if you want to refer to generalized undergrad studies about embryology and use that to shore up the Quran, you're not really using the latest and greatest now, are you? Let's also address how Muhammad could have heard about embryology. Pretty easy. One of his companions was a physician, Harith ibn Khalada. I'm trying to get the pronunciation right. He was a physician who was trained under the Galenic School of Medicine that just happens to be exactly the same, nearly word for word, repeated verbatim in the Quran as was taught by Galen himself. In addition, the works of Galen were translated into Syriac, which is one of the root languages for Arabic. It's very easy to connect, first of all, this doctor, this Harith ibn Khalada, to Muhammad, because there's plenty of hadith evidence for this. I can source that if you like. In addition, his adopted son was killed after the Battle of Badr. It's indisputable where Muhammad got this information. Number two, we talk about geologists when we speak about mountains. Geologists study and are familiar with the structure of mountains. Mountains, to act as tent pegs, would have to extend through the crust into the mantle of the earth. Mountains don't do that. They sit on top of the crust, relatively speaking. Any attempts to justify this language used in the Quran can easily be refuted by simply looking at modern structural studies, modern structural works about mountains. There's a number of different types of mountains. Incidentally, in my comments I mentioned the fact that where you have mountains, you have earthquakes. I would reference you to Surah 31, Ayah 10. Go look at that and tell me why there are so many earthquakes near mountains, if their purpose is to stabilize the crust. Those are the two questions that you specifically mentioned. The rest of them seem to allude to women and some other questions, and you simply state things that any sane, rational, non-sociopathic human being would agree with readily. So we're not sure what question you're answering here. Tony, I would call to you to, first of all, elucidate the questions either in your comments or verbally, or, like you like to do, on the screen. Type something out for us. Let us know what question you're answering, and then we can go back and we can discuss and clarify your answer further, and hopefully help you along the path to further knowledge that I think pretty strongly is going to lead you back to the God of the Bible, the risen Savior, Jesus Christ. My name remains Brian. I come to you, I reach out to you in brotherly love, Tony. Please continue to search, continue your path. We are praying for you fervently down here, and all Muslims throughout the world, that they will come to a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ.